let's step in to the first conspiracy, first haunting, first mystery of today's episode, which is the DYATLOV Pass incident. So, on January 27th, 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out into Russia's Ural Mountains and never returned. From the start, this case feels like one of those stories where the deeper you go, the more it seems like something didn't want them coming back. These weren't weekend campers, sorry. They were elite winter trekkers led by Igor DYATLOV, disciplined, high-trained, and certified to handle brutal Siberian conditions. For days, everything was routine. They kept journals, they snapped photos, and they followed a planned route through the icy terrain. Their final diary entries showed nothing but optimism. But then, nothing. When rescuers found the group's tent, it was half buried in snow and cut open from the inside. Their warm clothing was still there, their boots were neatly lined up. Whatever happened struck fast enough to send 9 experts sprinting barefoot into a blizzard in the middle of the night, which is pretty unheard of, pretty strange. The first 2 bodies were found near a cedar tree, stripped down to their underwear, as if they'd been trying to build a fire. 3 more were found near between the tree and the tent, frozen in positions that suggested they were crawling back to the tent. The last 4 were discovered months later in a ravine, and their injuries are at the heart of the DYATLOV Pass nightmare. So one had no tongue, another had missing eyes. Some had ribs and skull fractures equal to the force of a high-speed crash, yet no external wounds. Several had clothing containing traces of radiation. Still, no signs of struggle, though. The official Soviet explanation, which was a vague shrug of a phrase, a compelling natural force. And that's when the theories exploded, and each one is more unsettling than the last. So, of course, the most scientific explanation suggests a slab of snow broke loose above the tent, pushing the hikers to cut their way out and flee, which could explain their panic and disorientation. A recent computer simulation even supported that idea. But the problem there was no evidence of a large avalanche. Their tent was still standing, the slope angle was too low, and it doesn't explain the radiation. It also doesn't explain the missing tongue and eyes, and it doesn't account for the internal injuries without external trauma. It answers some questions but leaves many more. The secret Soviet weapons testing theory suggests the hikers wandered into an area where the USSR was testing parachute, mines, missiles, or high-yield explosives. Shockwaves from such devices can cause violent internal damage with minimal external wounds, exactly what some hikers had. The supporters of this theory point out that military test sites existed nearby. Strange glowing orbs were seen in the sky around the time of this incident, and radiation could come from military materials or fallout. If this happened, the hikers may have been caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the government covered it up with the cryptic natural force line. Going to the next theory, the infrared sound. So infrared sound is a low-frequency sound that we can't consciously hear, but our bodies can feel it. It's known to cause anxiety, dread, paranoia, and even irrational flight responses. Some believe the strong winds hitting the mountain created an infrared sound vortex, if you will, causing a wave of panic so intense that the hikers fled in terror. Could fear alone make 9 experts run half naked into a storm? Maybe, but it doesn't explain the physical injuries or the radiation, and I personally don't see that happening. Another variation, the hikers stumbled upon something or someone they weren't supposed to see, possibly Soviet soldiers, a classified operation, or secret prisoners being moved throughout the region. Signs that fuel this theory are that some hikers had bruises consistent with hand-to-hand combat. Their bodies were found arranged in ways that looked deliberate, and the missing tongue and eyes could be consistent with rough interrogation or post-mortem damage. So, again, no defensive wounds, though. If this was an attack, it was swift and one-sided. The local indigenous Mansi people, they are the people that had sacred lands in the area. Some early investigators considered the possibility of retaliation for trespassing. Problems with this theory is that the Mansi were known for being peaceful. No footprints were found besides the hikers, and the injuries were beyond what any group could inflict without leaving marks. Still, some believe the hikers may have disturbed a spiritual sensitive location, and a cursed or forbidden area tied to old legends could have potentially been the reason for this incident. Now, probably the most sensational theory is a creature or Yeti attack. And oddly, it's not the easiest one to debunk either. So a photo from the hiker's camera shows a dark humanoid figure in the woods. People point to enormous internal injuries, the way their bodies were scattered, some strange large footprints reportedly found nearby, as well as the missing tongue and eyes. Now, skeptics say it's ridiculous, of course. Believers ask, how do you crush someone's ribs without breaking the skin? Whatever caused those injuries wasn't normal. Then there's the paranormal theories. And honestly, DYATLOV Pass has enough bizarre elements. This theory is hard to dismiss completely. Visitors to the area report seeing glowing orbs drifting through the trees, hearing voices or whispers at night, feeling watched or followed, sudden intense dread, electronic devices malfunctioning, and some believe the hikers encountered an entity or force tied to the land, again, possibly going back to the Mansi people and cursed objects, trespassing onto sacred land, sort of thing. So even if it's not the Mansi people themselves, could be tied in indigenously, but spiritually, if that makes any sense. A kind of ancient guardian or energy in the mountains. Locals warn them not to go, calling the region the Mountain of the Dead. Alas, they went anyway, and here we are today. Whether that's folklore or a warning that the hikers should have listened to, we might never know. The most chilling idea, it wasn't just one thing. Researchers believe a small snow collapse triggered the initial panic, which pushed the group into an area where they were hit by military shockwaves, which led to disorientation, which led to physical trauma from falling into the ravine. But that still doesn't explain the radiation, though, or the missing tongue, or the eerie sense of intelligence behind the chaos. And the detail that always stays with me, when forensic experts examine the bodies, again, they found no defensive wounds. I've mentioned this already at this point, but this just creeps me out immensely. No defensive wounds at all. So there's no sign that they fought, and there's no evidence that they even tried. Whatever killed them was not something that they could fight.